Hello on this fabulous day. I am here and excited to tell you what I know about installment loans. So here's your lecture from your wannabe mother figure telling you installment loans can get you in trouble if you think you need that brand new motorcycle right now, or that brand new camp trailer right now, or that brand new snow machine right now. So we got to be careful with installment loans, but let's define them really quick. They are going to be loans that we take out that have just a fixed payment. They have a fixed period of time that you pay them back. So let's say we're going to buy a car for $10,000. We have a $200 payment on that. As soon as that $10,000 gets paid off, then our loan closes and that's it. It's not like your revolving credit that you can borrow against it and pay it back and borrow against it and pay it back that we have for, establishing our credit. Installment loans also fall into those payday loans. Some of those cash for title type places, those are considered installment loans as well. And I'm going to explain why we've got to be careful with those with our credit scores in just a little bit. But installment loans are really good. There is actually a rhythm or an algorithm to the credit report that says, okay, you need to have a certain amount of revolving lines of credit open, a certain amount of installment loans, student loans, mortgage. And there is kind of an algorithm that gives you kind of a perfect plan for credit to be able to get that credit score to be as good as it can be. And installment loans are kind of a tricky thing because you want them to be open for a certain amount of time before you close them and take advantage of the biggest credit impact that you can. So let's talk about where we start with that. So getting a car loan, getting some sort of a motorcycle loan or a snowmobile loan isn't necessarily a bad thing as long as you have established yourself a budget and you can make that payment and everything's good that direction. I'm not going to get into that budget stuff quite yet. That's going to be a little bit down the line, but your installment loans are critical to keep open for 12 months. So I will use my son as an example. He does summer sales, and so he goes and kills himself over the summer working really, really hard and makes a pretty good paycheck. And that stretches over a whole year of income. So when he had the ability to buy a car, he went and got the car loan. Well, as soon as his summer sales gig was over for the summer, he had enough money. He could just pay that car off. And I said, oh, no, you won't. Don't do that. You want to keep it open for 12 months. So he just kept that money in his bank account, and that's just where it stayed until he hit that 12th payment. And then basically on the 13th payment, he paid that car off. So that's obviously in a perfect world that you have that kind of a situation. But I just want that disclaimer out there that if you do have an installment loan, you need to make sure that you keep it open for at least 12 months, because opening an installment loan and closing it and opening it and closing it and opening it and closing it is really hard on credit. That's where you've got to be careful with those cash for title type loans, because they're meant to be a short-term thing. So you have an installment loan that's open for 2 or 3 months, you pay it back, and then maybe you get yourself in trouble financially 2 or 3 months later, you open another one, it's open for 2 or 3 months, and then it closes. Those are really hard on your credit. So please refrain from going to those facilities. But car loans are really good. Installment loans, those that you borrow a certain amount of money, you have a certain amount of payment per month that goes towards principal payment and an interest payment. And once you pay that off, the title becomes yours, the car loan is paid off, and the loan just closes. Nothing wrong with those as long as it's fitting within your financial means to be able to pay that back. I definitely know that there is a place on your credit report that you have to have an installment loan. So when you feel comfortable with your revolving credit and you understand, okay, I've got this established and I understand when I need to make my payment, you've now at this point probably got some sort of a credit score. So when you go into the bank and ask them to give you a car loan, you have probably a better chance of being able to get that vehicle loan, snowmobile loan, motorcycle loan, because you have established a credit score. So your interest rate should be a little bit lower. There is an opportunity, obviously, to get a lower interest rate sometimes when you have a cosigner that has more established credit, but hopefully with the ability to establish that revolving line of credit and your credit scores have been established at this point, then you can actually apply for a car loan and be able to take advantage of that. I can't tell you that having a car loan that's for 2 years or 5 years or 7 years is a hurt or a hinder or a benefit to your credit. I definitely know that you cannot have that close between 0 and 12 months. So that's like the big asterisk, like do not close this installment loan until I've made at least my 13th payment or my 12th payment. And on my 13th payment, I can pay that off if you have the financial ability to just pay it off. On the ability to make the payment and just pay it off in that time frame, obviously that is not a realistic situation in most cases. So I would caution you to not be thinking, oh my gosh, I have to pay this off in 13 months. No, you don't. No, you don't. It's okay if you get a 3-year car loan and it takes you 3 years to pay it back. You are going to pay a little bit more interest because you are paying on a loan that has interest tied to it. So if you take the full 3 years to pay it back, you're going to be paying interest. And that's okay. That's unfortunately kind of the world we live in, that you have to pay interest. But I will tell you, on your installment loans, even if you can pay an extra $5, $10, or $15 per month, it makes a huge difference. And so I would task you with that sure, you want to have that car loan and you can afford that $250 payment or that $300 payment. Well, maybe you just bump it up $25 and you just make that extra chunk go towards the principal payment every single month. And that just helps reduce the amount of interest you're paying. So installment loans, key factors here. Do not get one unless you can financially afford it. You get a car loan that goes into a repossession situation because you can't make the payment. You have just destroyed your credit for many years and you just don't want to go down that path. So you look at your finances, you make sure you can make that payment, you only apply for that loan, and sign on the dotted line if you can make that payment comfortably and it's not going to be a stress to you and you don't have to worry about whether or not you can make that payment. You do not have to have the Taj Mahal car, the beautiful, beautiful motorcycle that's shiny, shiny, shiny. It's okay. It's okay to start small. It's okay to work yourself up just a little bit. You don't need to have what mom and dad have right now. So I am telling you this from the bottom of my lovely black heart. Be cautious when you go get a car loan, an installment loan, because you want to make sure you can financially afford it. Your revolving line of credit is already giving you a really good stance on your credit report. Don't destroy it by being excited to get yourself into a loan. If you are a fan or your parents are a fan of some of the financial planners, financial gurus that are out there, they're going to tell you to stay away from getting any type of loans. And I don't disagree. I don't disagree that having loans maybe isn't the best thing, but I also know that you cannot survive in this world without some sort of a credit score. Things are just easier when you have a credit score. So let's just be smart as we're establishing that credit score. Let's make sure we don't get ourselves into any type of financial trouble. And let's realize it's okay to have maybe not the top end of everything and be patient with our purchases. So with that being said, if you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out to me at an email address of adultingandafraid@gmail.com. Have a good day.